Right now, the trial for former Badgers football player Quintez Cephas is underway. We'll have an update from the courtroom. And a community in California mourns the 3 lives lost at a festival shooting over the weekend. We're learning more about how quickly officers were able to stop the shooter.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at noon.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mark Kane. Thanks for tuning in to News 3 Now on this Tuesday afternoon. We'll get to those stories in just a bit. But first, let's head over to the Weather Center. Meteorologist Chris Reese has a look at your first alert forecast. Good afternoon, Chris.
Hey, it's another very beautiful day out there. Plenty of blue skies. And yes, it feels absolutely fantastic. A lot of us are at the noontime hour with temperatures that are in the 60s and 70s. But here's a live look outside right now. Of course, it's a beautiful day with decorator clouds, as I like to call them. Here's visible cloud track showing you that there's plenty where that came from, but no organized blanket of cloud cover. That means we're going to be seeing that sunshine going through the rest of the afternoon. Temperature-wise, a lot of us are in the low 70s at this point. Camp Douglas, Black River Falls, the Dells, and then Janesville in the mid 70s and upper 70s as you work your way over towards Kenosha. Madison is at 71 degrees right now. Check out the dew point all the way into the low 50s. That is the truly comfortable air, folks. There's a lot more where that came from. We're talking about the whole stretch of a week that's going to be this beautiful in your main forecast.
Sounding good. Open the windows this morning.
Yes.
All right, we'll see you in a few minutes. Thank you, Chris. It is day 1 in the trial against former Badger football player Quintez Cephas. He faces 2 felony sexual assault charges. During opening statements today, the prosecution described a Snapchat message one of the 2 accusers sent the night of the alleged assault. It read, quote, "Raped. My phone is about to die. I don't know what to do." Cephas's attorney is calling that accuser the organizer and promoter of the hookup, saying it was all planned. They aim to prove the women are falsely accusing Cephas. We'll have updates as the trial continues later today on News 3 Now and throughout the day on Channel3000.com. A teenager expected to face charges for crashing a stolen car into a school bus yesterday afternoon. A Madison police spokesperson said this happened around 4:30 yesterday at Mendota Elementary School. A student was getting off the bus when the stolen SUV hit the back of the bus. No children were hurt. A witness told police the SUV and a Chevy Impala were traveling together, speeding through the neighborhoods. The Impala hit another car a few minutes later. 17-year-old DeMonte Tillman, who was allegedly driving the SUV, was arrested. Police are still looking for the 16-year-old boy who was driving the Impala. New at noon, a 14-year-old girl could be charged for stealing items from cars in Fitchburg. This happened in the 2800 block of Bryan Lane near McKee Farms Park. Police received 2 calls just after midnight reporting a burglary and 2 people entering vehicles. The 14-year-old was taken to the Juvenile Reception Center but were unable to track down the other suspect. Police say the 2 are connected to another car burglary. In Milwaukee, authorities are looking for answers in a rash of overdoses. 14 people have died in 4 days. The medical examiner says they're investigating and aren't sure if they all came from a common drug. They say the cases were scattered throughout the county. What they do know is if the overdose deaths stay on this pace, they'll reach an all-time high.
Let's hope that this trend doesn't continue. Hopefully this was a spike in an isolated weekend incident.
Before this latest spike, Milwaukee was on pace to have their lowest number of drug deaths since 2015. One number that is staying pretty consistent, though, is the fentanyl overdoses. In Mississippi, 2 people are dead and an officer is hurt after a shooting at a Walmart. It happened this morning in South Haven, which is right near the Tennessee border. The suspected gunman is in the hospital, his condition unknown at this time. A responding officer who was hurt was wearing a bulletproof vest and is expected to recover. As the families of a man and 2 children killed in the Gilroy, California mass shooting mourn, we are learning more about the 3 officers who stopped the shooter in less than a minute. Dan Simon, that is, has the latest.
A community in mourning.
Together, we are stronger than anything that tries to divide us.
Gathering to remember the lives lost in the latest mass shooting in America.
They're going to say we're strong, but they're going to say that we are a beacon of hope, that we are that shining light.
The attack killed 3 young people and left at least 12 others injured.
Anytime a life is lost, it's a tragedy, but when it's young people, it's even worse.
Among the victims, 13-year-old Kayla Salazar. Her aunt says she saved a family member's life at the cost of her own. 25-year-old Trevor Irby, whose grandmother says he was friends with everyone. And the youngest, Stephen Romero, who had just turned 6, was excited to start first grade soon.
Couldn't believe what was happening, that what she was saying was a lie. Maybe I was dreaming.
Authorities are piecing together the gunman's last moves before attacking innocent people at the Gilroy Garlic Festival. Police identifying the killer as 19-year-old Santino William Legan, saying he used an AK-47 assault-type rifle in the attack legally purchased in Nevada on July 9th. The weapon is banned in California.
Despite the fact that they were outgunned with their handguns against a rifle, those 3 officers were able to fatally wound that suspect, and the event ended very quickly.
Local and federal authorities combing through the gunman's family home.
Our preeminent and principal concern at this point is motivation, ideological leanings. Was he affiliated with anyone or any group?
And digging through his social media, like 2 Instagram posts in a now deleted account under the suspect's name, show a picture of the festival, another of this high fire danger sign, with a caption praising a book described as a white supremacist text.
We are currently undertaking social media scrubs, as well as assessing information that's derived from other interviews and investigative techniques.
Authorities are still looking into the possibility that there may have been a second suspect. Happening tonight, Democratic presidential hopefuls will debate once again, this time in Detroit. The debate is spread over 2 nights in order to accommodate the 20 candidates who qualified. Tonight, 2 of the more progressive top-tier candidates, Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, will be on the same stage. It starts at 7 o'clock tonight. You can watch it on CNN. GM's 78-year-old transmission plant in Warren, Michigan will halt production this week. The Detroit area plant is one of 5 in North America that GM announced would suspend operations as part of a business transformation. The company plans to build fewer sedans as customers demand more trucks and SUVs. It also wants to eventually build more electric cars. The Warren plant opened in 1941. 60 of the 200 workers there have been transferred to other factories in the U.S., and 25 are retiring. The CrossFit Games will draw an estimated $10 million in direct consumer spending on things like goods, restaurants, and hotels in Dane County. At the Edgewater, out of their 202 rooms, 184 are booked by athletes. And it's a similar story at other local hotels here. Officials say in lodging alone, the money brought into Madison is the equivalent of 7 Badger home football games. And it isn't just hotels. Many restaurants have tailored their meals to attract CrossFit athletes and attract people who want to eat like them. The event is not only bringing in millions, it also is putting Madison, Wisconsin on the world stage with athletes from as far as India and Kenya participating.
And there's nothing better than the CrossFit Games. All of the TV coverage and all of the people that are coming here worldwide, seeing what a great city this is. It's a phenomenal stage for us to be on, to show this is Madison, here we are coming, we are a strong city.
And the games start on Thursday. There's more to come on News 3 Now at noon. Up next, we'll see what Howard's working on in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Today's upside down dessert is so good, you'll be doing flips after one bite. And it's perfect for summer. It's summer, and the last thing we want to do is heat up our kitchen by turning on the oven. Yet, we're not willing to give up the taste of freshly baked desserts. So to keep everyone happy, we created a no-bake upside-down cheesecake that we think your gang will, well, let's just say, will flip over. We begin by beating some cream cheese until it's really smooth. Once it is, we add a package of instant vanilla pudding mix, some milk, a little sugar, and a splash of lemon juice. And we'll beat that until it's creamy. Now, we fold in some freshly whipped cream. Once that comes together, it's ready to spoon over some strawberries that we cleaned and cut in half. Yup, that's the upside down part. The berries go under the cheesecake layer rather than on top of it. And since every good cheesecake needs a crust, we sprinkle the top with some crumbled graham crackers. See, I told you you could have the fresh taste of cheesecake without ever turning on your oven. That's what makes this such a summertime favorite. To get the recipe for what we call upside-down strawberry cheesecake, simply visit our website. I'm Howard with Kelly in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a refreshing upside-down way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Thank you, Art. Up next, look at a beautiful forecast with temperatures in the high 70s and low 80s all week long. Meteorologist Chris Reese has your first alert forecast next. The information of more than 100 million Capital One users has been compromised, and experts are predicting another record year for back-to-school sales. Diane King Hall has your Money Watch report.
A hacker stole the information of more than 100 million people from Capital One. The breach exposed 140,000 U.S. Social Security numbers, 1 million Canadian social insurance numbers, and 80,000 bank account numbers, among other personal details. Capital One says it will offer free credit monitoring services to those affected. Procter & Gamble is out with its quarterly report card, and the consumer products giant posted a loss of nearly $5.25 billion, but that was better than expected. Items like Tide and Swiffer performed well, while the company had an $8 billion write-down of its Gillette business. Back to school shopping is already underway, and analysts are predicting a record year for sales. Deloitte expects spending to hit $27 billion, while the National Retail Federation predicts that number will clock in at $26 billion. Families with children in grades K through 12 are expected to spend nearly $700. And Sony is working on a new solution to beat the heat, a wearable air conditioner. The Rion Pocket is designed to regulate your body temperature by lowering it as much as 23 degrees or raising it by 14 degrees. Prices are expected to start around $117. The Rion Pocket won't be available until 2020 in the U.S. And that's your CBS Money Watch report. For more, head to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the New York Stock Exchange, I'm Diane King Hall.
Diane, thank you. Let's check Wall Street at the noon hour. The Dow Industrial is down 62 points. The NASDAQ down 25. The S&P 500 off 10.5. Let's check in now with Q106 Crime Director Pam Yankee. She's in the radio suite. That little air conditioner thing, that's got my name on it.
I was just going to say, I wonder how many I can hang on me to try to mostly keep me cool, but that's interesting. Get them in India, bring them back over here. So, yeah, on a day like this, though, you really don't need much air conditioning, Mark. It's awfully nice out there, and the weather has got the markets talking just a little bit. Our Wisconsin farmers feeling pretty good about things, and the harvest has begun for some of our farmers. 2% of our Wisconsin potato crop is already harvested. 10% of our winter wheat is already combined off. Soybeans, well, we've got about 48% of that crop that's blooming, a sign of maturity, and 65% of our soybeans called good to excellent. That's a 3 percentage point increase in confidence in 1 week's time. 28% of our corn is silked. 63% of the corn called good to excellent, also up 3% this week. So farmers feeling a little bit better about things, but we do have to kind of remember, we're almost at the end of July. There's still a lot of corn out there that has not yet reached the tassel stage, and that means that all of a sudden we have to start channeling our attention not just on today's date, but that first frost. You see, the markets are down today, corn, soybeans, and wheat. So is dairy. It's not really about the weather. It's about the Federal Reserve. They've got another meeting that's ongoing. This is the big one where they are apparently going to cut interest rates by at least 1/4 point. That's at least the way the market's talking. That's got the trade engaged, shall we say. There seems to be some people that believe there should be no interest rate change at all, and just that little amount of controversy has got that Dow Jones Industrial Average down, as well as our corn, beans, and dairy. Fluid milk contracts are down on the midday. Barrel cheese gained 1/4 cent at 172 1/4. 40-pound block cheese down 1/2 today at 182, and AA butter down 2 1/4 at 232 3/4 per pound. Guess we got to either eat more ice cream or more butter. That's where we get the trade-off, Mark. If the butter manufacturers aren't making as much money, they sell their cream over to the ice cream side of things, which does do a robust business this time of the year.
Butterscotch ice cream. Here's both. All right, Pam, thank you. We'll see you later. Here's Chris now with that great forecast.
Hey, no matter what the temperature is, I always say it's never too cold for ice cream, folks. Enjoy that. Things are cooler outside right now as opposed to yesterday by nearly 10 degrees here in Madison. Watertown, 7 degrees cooler. And really all throughout the upper Midwest, things are a lot cooler today than opposed to yesterday. A lot of temperatures in the 60s and then low 70s as you work your way closer towards the state line. The Dells at 71, Camp Douglas at 72, Wautoma at 69. We're at 71 in Madison. Janesville is at 75. And if we were to zoom this out and go further up towards parts of northern Wisconsin into Minnesota, a lot of those temperatures would be into the mid 60s there. So yes, it's a cooler air mass that we have in place. Those winds still coming out of the north at 9 miles per hour. Dew points, though, have dropped down into the lower 50s. That means it's going to feel very good. 52, the dew point for us. Watertown a little bit higher with their dew point at 58 right now. The Dells have a dew point at 50, but across the upper Midwest, this is the core of high pressure that came straight out of Canada, folks. That drier air moving down across the border, dropping a lot of the dew points into the 40s as you work your way into the northern part of the state. So, yes, things are very comfortable, downright pleasant And that's how it's going to be as we go through the next several days. As high pressure stays in control for us, here's how things are right now, and expect it to stay that way as we go through the end of the week and into the weekend. About the only change is when those winds begin to become a little bit more southerly. We'll notice that on probably about Thursday afternoon, and then we'll start to see a couple of changes in here. I'll point that out again in just a second. Let's go through the rest of this afternoon. Temperatures will make it into the middle 70s. We'll cool down into the mid 50s for your overnight lows. I wouldn't be surprised to see some upper 40s show up. In fact, Future Track tries to hint at that as you work your way towards the northern part of the viewing area. Tomorrow, we'll see those highs into the upper 70s. Then on Thursday, again, here we are Thursday morning, those winds starting to turn more southerly. We'll warm up a couple degrees, so look for those highs to make it into the low 80s, and that sets a little bit of a change in motion for the weekend. We'll start to see those highs into the lower, maybe middle 80s, and a little bit more in the way of humidity, but then another cold front going to come through. In fact, folks, as we go through the next 8 to 14 days, we're looking at a pretty solid probability of those temperatures being below normal. So that's something that we are going to be looking at. But here we are with your extended forecast, folks. It's 70s earlier on, then lower 80s, a stretch of sunshine all the way through the weekend. We'll have one chance of rain. That's going to be during the morning hours on Monday, which is actually going to be a cold front coming through. That'll knock our temperatures down for a day, but then we'll jump right back up towards 82 on Tuesday. Oddly enough, these temperatures are just around average, but I do think we will gradually trend below average in time.
That'd be nice. It's been a hot couple of weeks.
It has been a very hot couple of weeks, and it's been a humid couple of weeks as well, but not the worst humid summer that we've had, so that's for sure.
Enjoy this, though. It's perfect. All right, we'll be right back. And finally, McDonald's sales are up in part because of classic menu items. On Friday, the fast food chain announced U.S. sales went up nearly 6% in the second quarter. Wall Street only expected to see a 4.5% jump. The burger chain says there are 3 reasons for the boost: menu favorites like the 2-for-5 mix and match deal, modernized stores which have new fancy tech to make them look sleeker, and improvements to classic menu items. McDonald's switched from frozen to fresh beef in the quarter pounder, which made sales shoot up by 30%. Just in time for lunch. I'm hungry.
Yeah, so am I. Hey, we're going to see some more sunshine, though, as we go through the rest of this afternoon. Look for those temperatures to remain very comfortable, folks. We'll top out right around 76 degrees. Overnight tonight, though, things are going to be on the chillier side. Look for those lows to fall into the mid-50s. I just call it the mid-50s chilly. All right, that's how we're going to do it. It's been that warm lately. But hey, we're going to see sunshine as we go through the next 10 days. Out of the entire 10-day stretch, there is only one day that has a chance for rain right now. That is going to be Monday next week. And that is associated with a cold front that'll cool our temperatures down a couple degrees as we come off of the weekend. So in the meantime, it's 70s, it's low humidity. We're a couple degrees warmer towards Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. But if you have any chance to get outdoors in this stretch, I would take full advantage of doing so.
Absolutely. And August starts on Thursday. So
August does start Thursday.
moving along.
Yeah.
All right, that's our time for now. We'll see you back here at 4. Have a great afternoon.